And we are back. Hello there.
Yeah.
Hello there, Nathan.
General Kenobi.
Uh, how's it going?
Good, good. You know what? I'm excited to talk today. I think we had a better episode.
Excited you are. Oh, okay. Well, we're excited to be here and do a breakdown of episode 5 of Obi-Wan Kenobi, a Disney Plus TV show. And we appreciate everybody coming and hearing our thoughts, whether it be accurate or not, or do you agree or don't agree with us. Hey, it's conversation and it's fun, and we will love to hear everybody's comments on it as well. You can hit us up on our YouTube channel here at Astonishing and R. This is our segment we call Popcorn Chicken, and it's basically centered around movies and TV shows, but we're more of an explicit. We can kind of let loose a little bit here, and kind of speak our mind clearly, and it's more of an adult-oriented type of conversation. We do have our regular weekly A&R Weekly on Mondays that talks about various topics. Sorry, excuse me. Various topics. And that one is more family friendly. At least we try to be family friendly. But yeah, this is going to be a very interesting episode 5. What's how, like, you were obviously a little bit excited because I got a little sense of it. You're like, yeah, I can't wait to get into this. What did you think going into it? Like, I know episode 4, we talked about it and we weren't quite happy at the trend it was heading. But then we both said, well, there's 5 and 6 and there's something has to happen here. Right? I remember you saying to me, things better pick up real good here or, this is going to look bad. But you were optimistic, so was I. So we start off episode 5 right away where we left off. They escape, right?
Yep.
And so yeah, let me hear your take on what you thought right off the bat.
Well, even before we get into that, going into this, I thought they have to make improvements.
Make it or break it kind of thing, right?
Yeah, this is the moment. They have to have some sort of improvement. And I want to love this show. You and I both want to love this show. So absolutely. I'm at this point where if they give a small improvement, I will take it.
Let's be clear here to anybody that's listening to us. We want these shows to be good. It's great content for us to enjoy and to talk about. The negatives that we talk about are not in any way to be spiteful or, to be, simple terms like mean or something like that. We're not here to go and be negative towards these things. We want them to be awesome because these are things that we love, right? I mean, look at behind me, right? I have a bunch of Star Wars, Marvel Legends stuff. We want these shows to be great because we either collect them or we're big fans of them. So I want to put that, make sure that's very clear because a lot of people I've seen on Twitter, other YouTubers or other people out there have been getting a lot of negative backlash from some of the people that follow them or listen to them or watch them. And they all say the same. We have our opinions. It's our opinions. You don't have to agree with our opinions, but you kind of have to understand if you're going to watch and follow people with opinions, let them have their opinions. Don't tell them that they can't have that opinion or their opinion is wrong. You might not agree. Like I said, like a lot of people don't agree. Like it's like a lot of people don't agree, but it doesn't mean that they are trying to be negative just for the sake of it. Now, there are a few percentage of people who are negative no matter what. You can give them gold and they'll still think it's, fake. But we aren't like that. The two of us, we're honest about our opinions and we want shows like this to succeed. I just wanted to get it out of the way. Sorry, go ahead.
No worries. So I desperately wanted this to be a good episode. And going in, I forget the very first scene. Was it I might be thinking of the recap where it's the training scene, the Jedi Temple.
Yes.
In the Jedi Council chamber area or an area that looks similar to that. And Oh gosh, I love that they put the scene in there. I thought that was great. I'm not sure. Did you hear the backlash online about that? It was minor backlash, but
the de-aging,
yeah,
or the lack thereow.
The lack of de-aging, where
I want to get into this.
Older.
This is interesting you mentioned that, because I was waiting for this. I have a friend of mine who's a huge Star Wars fan as well.
Yep.
And we were talking about this earlier today, and he was saying that to me, what's your thoughts on it? He just watched it today, right?
Yep.
And I said to him immediately, I'm like, did you watch the beginning scene of the two of them fighting? Back in, when he was Anakin? And he's like, yeah, I did. I go like, what'd you think? And he's like, oh boy. He's like, all the money in the world Disney has, and they couldn't get it right. Some guy on the internet, I can't remember who, but I remember seeing it a couple of days ago. Some guy on the internet did a side-by-side comparison of what Disney did and what he did, and his looks miles better.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Anakin actually looks like he does way back when Phantom Menace was being filmed. No wrinkle lines, none of that nonsense.
Mm.
And he also admitted that he doesn't have any experience doing this. This is something he just picked up a couple of days before and kind of put it together, and here it is.
Wow.
That's mind-boggling. That's mind-boggling. Even people are like, oh, he's lying. So what if he's lying? He's still a one-man show.
One man.
They have a whole floor of people doing this.
Yeah.
Right? They have a dedicated building.
Yeah. In fairness, Anakin, the actor, has aged very well. But it's still noticeable, and it would have just taken a day of one person, as we've seen.
You could have done it with makeup.
They could have, and
I'm not a makeup artist or anything, but I think you could hide some lines here and there.
Yeah, it's not a make or break component, and it's not something I'm not going to complain too much about, because I kind of like the Disney magic of it, of getting to see that. But it was still, I don't know, you look at it and you realize, okay, this clearly was filmed recently. This is not something, it doesn't make you feel like they're bringing you back in time too much. It's like they're trying to tell you a story now with characters in the present. I know that sounds kind of strange, but I don't know. It was just a little obvious.
It doesn't gel.
Yeah, exactly. But nonetheless, I still was very excited when I saw that scene. I loved seeing them fight. And then it cuts off. You hear Vader's breathing, and it cuts off to him on a Star Destroyer. And I thought the transition was cool, but that scene, it just kind of stuck with me for a little bit as a call. I love that, getting to see Anakin when he was young, kind of his aggression, him training with Obi-Wan. We don't actually get to see that during the Clone Wars or during episodes 2 through 3. So it was kind of nice to see that. I enjoyed it. Besides the one flaw.
Seeing that episode, aside from the de-aging nonsense, seeing that did put a smile on my face. I'm like, this is nice to get that flashback kind of thing. But then I also was immediately kind of struck with we're in episode 5.
Yeah. And
I finally get something from the past. Where was this 1, 2, 3, and 4?
I know. So I understand.
It's a bittersweet kind of moment.
Yeah, I understand the reason why they added it now is because they want to show Anakin's aggressive. He doesn't like waiting. His aggression and or desire to win all the time and be victorious sometimes blinds him to other things that will at the end make him lose, and that's kind of central to the plot of this episode. But seeing that kind of scene earlier on in episode maybe 2 or 3 would have been nice. Even earlier, episode.
It doesn't even have to be that scene. It could be any scene, the two of them in it.
Yeah. Just getting to see that bond, that camaraderie. So that way, when we get to see him fighting Vader in what was it, end of episode 3, was it? Yeah. When we get to that scene, it feels a little more devastating to Obi-Wan. Before, it was all training and fun, and it was smiling, and they're like brothers. And now it's, I want revenge. I will drag you through fire. That's how much I hate you now. And that would have been more impactful if we got to see them more back during the Clone Wars.
That's the key right there. Impactful. This show wasn't impactful from the beginning. we still have one more episode to go, so I'll wait till the final episode drops and then give my final take on it. But from what we've seen so far, it hasn't been an impactful show for me, which is disappointing because I was going into this show thinking this and The Mandalorian would probably help Disney not look bad because they've hit duds, whether it be Marvel or Star Wars. And we got a slew of Star Wars shows coming up. Some of them probably not geared towards me. They sound like very child kid stuff, which is fine. It's Disney. Yeah. They're supposed to cater to everybody in different age groups. But I think this show was supposed to be the show to kind of remind people, yeah, okay, Boba Fett wasn't that great, guys, but we hit you with Mandalorian. You guys all loved it. We're hitting you with Kenobi, and you're gonna love it. And be patient with us because not every show is gonna be amazing, but the big boys, the big names, we're gonna make sure they're amazing because they're important to you guys. Yeah. And they didn't so far with this show. Fair enough?
Yeah. Oh, of course. No, I completely agree. It's been disappointing that they haven't had that impact.
Speaking of disappointing, so speaking of disappointing, let's get back into it. I don't want to veer too much off, but we get the scene where she comes in, this third sister, Grand Inquisitor. Oh, I just kind of spilled the bag right there.
Whoops.
Oops. So we get her coming, and Vader's there. Vader tells her to kneel. And I saw this coming. I'm
gonna be honest. I was hoping he was gonna cut her head off or something like that. I'm like, just do it.
Wow, you're a straight.
Oh, come on! For ages,
look at
everyone's
you.
wanted to get rid of her.
It's not like we've talked about this. We both don't like this character. But
it's the writers.
It's the writers. We said it. We don't want to get rid of this character if the character was written well. Yeah. Right. So she kneels down, and I'm like, here we go. They're gonna have a big celebration, galaxy far, far away, brand new Inquisitor. Everybody to, the Emperor will show around. She gets the little pin, remind me of Game of Thrones, right? Getting the pin. What's it? Forgot.
The Hand of the King.
Hand of the King. So she gets that, and she's all excited and everything. What are your thoughts on this? Like when you saw this, you're like, yeah, I saw this coming. I saw it coming. I don't know for you.
Like I kind of knew that was gonna happen, but I was hoping that he'd choke her out or something. I was hoping they would surprise us, and they didn't.
I had no whatsoever. I had no whatsoever thought that at any moment, like I didn't think that she's gonna get choked out. I thought 100% she's gonna get promoted. This is all gonna go her way. There was not even a little minute thought in my head that she's gonna get killed by him, at all. Because I just know Disney and the people who wrote it really want this character to be a big, significant character in the Disney lore, the Star Wars lore, and they really are trying to push you. You can't do that in a TV show. It's not big enough.
Mm-hmm.
You can't.
Yeah.
Like that is you have if you're gonna if you want to try to create a character from the ground up, you got to do more than a TV show. You got to do more than lazy writing, right? There has to be connectivity. There has to be reason. There has to be a reason why fans attach themselves to that character. There's fan favorites in Star Wars on the good side and the bad side. People love Vader. People love Maul. They're bad guys. But why do they like them? Because they're cool. They do certain things that are unique in the whole lore.
They're good at being bad.
They're good at being bad, but they're good at. They were written well. They're characters that have that awesome quality, unique qualities, right? Like Maul, there's no character like that. Even his brother's different than him.
He didn't even speak in episode 1, and people still loved him. Oh, sorry, I think he said one. We had one line, like "Yes, my master,"
whatever it was,
like that.
Whatever
people still loved him because he looked cool. He was menacing. When he like grimace or like show his teeth,
and then
he
pulls out the dual lightsaber, and you're like, "What?"
And then John Williams also made that moment where he's just standing there. Dun, dun.
The music, the score was amazing.
Yeah.
Those are the things that needed. Those are the things needed to come into place to propel that character into legendary status. You don't become a legendary status because writers are trying to will it to.
And not only have we not had good writing for her, but we haven't had a great score either for anyone, really. The villains haven't had a good score in this. I don't hear the Imperial March very often. I don't hear the Imperial March.
I don't get huge Vader scores.
Yeah,
I get a little minuscule corner.
We get the asthmatic breathing, but that's it.
Is that the... I don't know. Do they have the... I'm sure they have the copyrights to these songs. They bought it all, so they own it all. So I don't get it. Use it, right?
Yeah.
If the goal is to make this TV show look like a cinematic movie, giant movie, throw in the scores, give us everything.
Yeah.
Right. So she gets promoted to Grand Inquisitor, and she's all happy and everything. And then we tune into we get into the Rebels, right? The Rebels base
or the Path, I think they're called. They're not technically the Rebels, they're the Path.
Oh, sorry, the Path. They're wannabe rebels. There you go.
Yeah.
Did you find anything interesting Vader said to her?
When he said, "No, we're not going to." What was it? No, we're not going to siege. We're just going to attack. We're here for Obi-Wan, no one else. No, I didn't find it, unless I missed something. I thought,
did you find it weird? Did you find it weird that how she didn't mention anything about Leia?
Yeah, that's true. At this point though, I'm pretty sure she doesn't know who Leia quite is. I think she just knows that that Organa and Obi-Wan were close, and then if Leia went missing, that
I don't even
get involved.
I don't mean it in that sense. What I mean is, she should have mentioned to Vader, "Hey, you might want to go look into this planet, because the daughter from this planet escaped or whatever is missing, and the Jedi are helping them. They are traitors then." Do you know what I mean? In that sense.
Yeah, I think that's true, but I just think it's one of those things where it wouldn't push the plot too much unless they went to go arrest Senator Organa, but then that would kind of break canon a bit, because in the series, the Organas, like in episode 4, the Organas are still senators. So if they tag them as traitors now and really started looking into them, I think it might break canon.
Thank you. That was a trick question. What I was trying to get at is why even have Leia in a situation like that? Because people asked those are organic questions. I was like, why did she mention anything about her to Vader? Because this is such a big plot hole there. She knows where planet she's from. She knows who she's associated with. The Jedi are there to help the Organa. Why? Like, these are things that they created this hole for themselves.
Yeah.
The writers made this massive crater of a hole, right? Where nobody's even asking about this whole entire planet that could be not loyal to the Empire.
Yeah.
Right? So, sorry to be a little trick you there.
No, it's okay.
I wanted to hear your opinion on it. I wanted to hear your honest opinion. And yeah, you were right. It would break canon, which is why even put her in this position? Why even put Leia in this position where you have questions now saying that, hey, is it going to break canon? Because now that whole planet is considered traitors, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's the mess. So, okay, they get to the place. They arrive there. They're trying to get, Ice Cube's son. Can't remember the character he's playing. Says that he's trying to get everybody into the planes and out of here because they obviously know they're not too far behind. Obi-Wan saying, yeah, he's coming for me, blah, blah, blah. We need to get everybody out of here. And then we see Lola. Is it Lola?
Lola. I think.
How does nobody not see a flying thing?
Yeah. Also, how do they not notice that its eyes just change color to red?
and is going into a vent shaft.
Yeah,
Where all the important electrical wiring apparently is for the entire place.
And later on, when Leia's up in that shaft looking around and Lola's right like behind a couple wires with a bright red light, how does she not notice that? That is moving around. There's a light behind the wires.
That in itself needs to be talked about as well, as ridiculous as it sounds. Okay, so they're planning their escape, right? And then what happens after that?
Well, they're planning to escape, but then everything gets locked down, as we just mentioned. And the Imperials send down their forces on the planet, and they begin to try and break in. And they start, I don't want to say, I don't know, they're shooting the door.
So just before that door, sorry, just before that door, the roof closed and they can't open it up.
Yep.
And everything is one little vent, like you mentioned. She then says, I could fix it. I could fit in there. I already knew. The minute they said it's so small, you can't fit in there, I knew right away. Oh, yeah, she's going to go up there and fix it. I have kids. My kid, if they were that age, I would never, ever let them first climb a ladder. You saw that ladder. That's a pretty big ladder.
It's very high up, yeah.
8-year-old kid by herself climbing that ladder. Never going to happen. My kids will never be doing that. Second, you're going to go inside an electrical vent where she could possibly electrocute herself and die? Like, what?
And then she's going to rewire it.
And how does she know? And, people said, oh, well, hey, Luke was able to build a robot. Fair enough. They're special kids. I get it. They're special, talented kids. But nobody's even thinking about the safety of this kid at all. Forget the talent. This kid could die by holding onto the wrong wires. Like, isn't the safety of this kid more important? And Obi's job is to protect her. He's like, yeah, okay, go ahead. Let her climb that ladder. It's all good. Don't worry about it.
Use the Force, Leia.
Yeah. Just when you fall, you just float because you'll use the Force.
That's not how the Force works.
Yeah. I just, the stupidity of these things that are happening.
I know.
The writers, I don't know what they're doing. Like, do they come to the office, turn on the lights, and just write garbage on the whiteboard and say, yeah, this is going to stick. We'll just make it stick. I don't know. There's no sensibility. It's not a sensibility. A sense of awareness of the age, the practicality of it all. Like, I don't understand that. There's so many ways they could have fixed that door. They didn't need Leia to fix the door. They could have that funny guy, that Nadrana, the brown guy who was pretending to be a Jedi. He shows up there.
Yeah.
They could have made him fix that door. He was fixing. Remember, he was messing around with some stuff there at his little place.
He was.
He was tinkering stuff. Could have made him do it. Does anybody care if Leia fixed the door or not? Nobody cares. That's not
especially after the big mission to go rescue her.
Yeah, like, who cares? Like, oh man, just lazy, dumb writing. And then you mentioned bright red light right in front of her, and she has no idea. And then it attacks her. Does it not attack her?
Yeah, and I think she catches it or something.
I'm okay with her catching it, but just like, what?
Yeah, it is odd, but I think it's not even the worst of some of the stuff that's happened throughout the season so far. So let's not dwell on it too much.
I think next week we should kind of do a countdown of all the worst stuff that happens. What has happened? Yeah, so they're by the door, like you said. The troopers come down with the new Grand Inquisitor.
Yes,
comes down, and they're shooting at this door. And Obi's like, I'm going to buy you guys some time. And I'm like, uh-oh. What's he going to do now? I thought he's going to go fight them.
Yeah, I actually thought that too.
I thought he was going to say, I'll fight you, Inquisitor, first to prove who I am, whatever. I thought he was just a challenger to a duel, right? But instead, he goes to a giant door and they have a conversation. And what's your thought on this?
Oh, boy. Well, she admits here, kind of jumping ahead in the conversation a bit, but it's kind of the most important part. She admits that she's she was a youngling, which we talked about. We thought that was one of her origins, potential origins. So she was a youngling. Her, family got killed by Anakin right in front of her, and now she wants revenge, and so she wants to kill Vader, and so she's taking this position to get close, which doesn't quite make sense to me. But at least now we know kind of her backstory. We kind of see Obi-Wan trying to manipulate that a bit. Like, we can work together. And to me, it's like, okay, a bit of the real Obi-Wan's showing here. We're seeing him trying to be, like, I know people also might say, oh, he's trying to bring her to the light, but really I thought he's manipulating her. She's gone to the dark side. She's not
very interesting.
Yeah, I'm not thrilled with the idea that she's actually, turned, like, fighting for good. But the way I kind of justified in my mind, because I know we talked about this last week or the week before, that we wouldn't like that plot twist. But the way I'm able to justify it is she's gone to the dark side now. She was traumatized as a kid, gone to the dark side.
There's anger built up, right? Yeah.
And she's hunted and killed other Jedi. So, which also didn't quite make sense to me, because she's doing this whole thing as revenge for the Jedi being killed, especially her friends being killed in front of her. And the way she gets revenge is she kills more of her family to get closer to the guy who killed. So that didn't quite make sense to me, but at least she's not turning to the light side, and she's still like a dark side character, and she's trying to do this just in an evil way.
One thing that I found really annoying, and this is because the writers, again, going back to them, they don't know what they're doing. Some of these writers don't even know the history of Star Wars or even watched a lot of it. She goes to him, "Where were you, Obi? Why didn't you protect us?"
Yeah.
Hello? Order 66 went down like this. Entire Jedi Council was under siege. Everybody's fighting for their lives to survive. And she's going, "Where were you?"
I was fighting Grievous, General Grievous, the Jedi killer.
What are you talking about? We're all trying to fight, survive here. Did you not see the countless Jedis protecting you, younglings, died trying to protect you guys? Yeah. What do you think Obi-Wan would have done in that situation? Maybe saved a couple of you, but he would end up dying himself too. They were sieged. And Anakin led the charge there.
And she's smart enough to know that Anakin turned into Vader, but she can't put the dots together that all the injuries that Vader sustained were from Obi-Wan. She just can't figure that out. It's obvious. Vader doesn't really hide it. People know that he's injured. They know he's powerful, though, and that scares them.
It just so, like, it just goes to show you that the writers had no idea what Order 66 was and what it entailed. Because they wouldn't write that in there. "Where were you, Obi? Yeah. Why couldn't you protect us?"
That was a dumb line, but I did enjoy the fact that now we kind of know a bit more about her. She seems like, sure, she's not a great character, but I don't know. I felt it redeemed her a tiny bit, getting that backstory and knowing that she's still a dark side character. She's just, she's got
an opportunist, right? She's trying to work her way. She got Grand Inquisitor, which she wanted, and she's working her way up the ranks, and she thinks next is Vader.
Yeah.
Big mistake.
It's a two-sided coin, though, her backstory, because on one side, I like having the backstory, and I like she's still a dark side character, but on the other side, her revenge for all the Jedi being killed is to hunt down the remaining Jedi and kill them, to get closer to the guy that killed the original ones at the temple. So, I don't know. That doesn't make sense.
My question to her is, my question about her is, why does she need to kill Vader? What is killing Vader going to do for you? You think the Sith is going to take you into under your arms? The Sith chooses who they want. He wants. Not going to choose her. I don't understand. Like, what killing Vader is going to do what, and how are you going to get away with that?
Yeah, she wouldn't. There's an emperor, and there are other Force users and Force sensitive children that the emperor would just train and make his new apprentice. We even know it's not canon anymore, but we know of apprentices like Starkiller, who's an apprentice to Vader and was eventually going to replace either Vader or the emperor.
Well, the loyal subjects that Vader has, the commanders on those, They're not gonna let her walk out the door.
Oh no,
Vader.
like a stormtrooper would definitely fight her.
So I don't know. Like, is she gonna take on the entire the ship that Vader's on? Is gonna take on everybody on that ship and survive?
And she's seen how powerful Vader is, and she thinks she can take him on.
The dude walked into the room and just went like this, and she went flying in the air, gasping for air.
Oh, that's later on. Oh no, sorry, that happened
last episode. Yeah.
Spoiler. Whoops.
What makes her think that she's going to be able to beat him? Right. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I know.
Anyway, so this was a crazy scene. This also was funny, but at the same time, it was kind of weird because all these troopers are shooting, and these guys, the good guys, the Path, they're not even taking cover. They're just
when they break through the door.
Yeah.
So yeah, and for viewers right now, as soon as the conversation's over, she sticks her lightsaber and busts it open somehow. I don't know how sticking your lightsaber and pulling it down just opens it, but it does.
It's not Beskar armor.
Yeah. Well, I know, but like I'm just start from the top. She went like halfway down.
I know. So it defeats the purpose of them using a cannon and shooting at this door.
Yeah, it's like, why didn't she just use that in the first place?
Some people are saying, it weakened the door. That's why she was able to do it. Okay, whatever. Who cares?
Yeah.
Let's just entertain that nonsense. Whatever.
So, some of them didn't go for cover. You're right. And the thing that really annoyed me, because I was watching Obi-Wan more than the Path Rebel people, and I've seen Obi-Wan do this previously as well, and I mentioned it before on the podcast. The choreography for lightsaber, just duels and deflecting, all that is completely off. The lightsaber, the special effects look great, but his style, and I know people might say, "Oh, it's been a while. He's not, used to using lightsaber still." It's completely different style.
That's nonsense.
When you're deflecting a bolt, your saber is not slashing downwards to push him away. That's too aggressive.
It goes up.
It's a defensive style. That's why Jedi are better at it than the Sith. It's completely defensive, and so it's upright. You move it, and the bolt hits it and flies back.
You're almost anticipating to where you want it to go.
That's exactly it. And that they can do that because they have the Force and they're able to kind of sense. You're right.
Yeah. So it's coming from the left. Okay, I wanted to go right, so I'm going to bend the blade, or I'm going to position my blade where it's going to ricochet off mine and go to where I want it to go.
Yeah, and he did this. I counted it twice. It might have happened a third time that I can't remember. Where I can't stand up right now, but he'd like lean back and then he'd like swing and then he'd go off on one foot. So he's 1 foot in the air while he's swinging to deflect it. And like, he looks like the Drunken Jedi from that Drunken Jedi video from many, like 10, 12 years ago.
And this whole utter nonsense about it's been a while, they have choreographers that are there for him 24/7 to teach him. There are specialists on site to teach you how, because both him and Hayden Christensen probably had to go through some formal training to get back up to speed on what it is to be like a Jedi and wield the blade. So it's not like they don't have anybody available to teach them or remind them how to act and how to work and move around as a Jedi, right? So that's utter nonsense.
Yeah, I don't know why they're choreographing it like this, because they're the scene at the start where they're having their little duel, and we get flashbacks to that throughout the episode. That fight, from what I can remember, it looked good. It wasn't like the best lightsaber fight, but it was a good little spar. But then when they bring it back to modern, sure, Obi-Wan's out of practice, but he never practiced in any way that chopping motion. That was never a style he ever
I'll tell you why it's out of place is because the director can't even recognize that. The director doesn't even know that that's an error. So when the director and the writers all are unaware of how to, be meticulous on how the Jedi move and react, they don't have that understanding or the respect of it, then you're not going to see that correction.
Yeah.
Right? So that's what it comes down to. All right, where are we now?
She's busted through the door. They're going down the hallway. So as they go down the hallway, I can't remember her name. It's the Imperial officer, the fake.
I really like this character, by the way.
So do I. Yeah,
I thought she was good. Really like this character.
She's one of the few characters in this whole season that I've genuinely liked.
And I fell for this situation. I'm like, oh, this is so sad.
Yeah.
And you see the robot. I can't remember the robot's name, but you see the robot kind of protecting her. I thought that was so sweet. You know, it was a good. It was a great moment.
I was like, oh shit! As soon as I saw her in that hallway, I thought, okay, someone important's gonna die. These hallway scenes, they always do, and then someone backs up and they close the doors. And as soon as I saw her fighting alone, I'm like, oh, she's gonna get it. And right before she dies, when she holds up that thermal detonator, I was so happy that I saw that, because Star Wars hasn't used them too much. They've kind of slowed down with the use of thermal detonators. That's kind of that's her character. You know, she's willing to make the sacrifice to take risks. And if she's able to take out a bunch of stormtroopers and the Grand Inquisitor, she's going to. I thought it was a nice send-off.
I love that sacrifice. And you know what? It's funny because she barely is in the show, and she's probably, in my opinion, more popular than Reva is.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I agree completely.
I mean, both of us like her way more than Reva.
Yeah.
And I've talked to other people, they liked her more than Reva as well. I don't know what the big numbers are, but, you know, it goes to show you, right, that extra, like, I don't know how, but the writers figured how to work with this character and make this character so good. And then the sacrifice at the end is like a proper send-off to this beautiful, amazing character who switched sides to protect.
Yeah.
Right? All these younglings and Jedis, right?
I liked her character because it kind of reminded me of some of the characters in Rogue One.
Yeah.
She was not, her character was not someone that was quirky or had some sort of special ability. She was a regular person who joined the Empire thinking it was the right thing to do. And after some time, they realized that it was wrong. And they're just terrified of what the Empire could do. And so they started pushing back against it. Mm-hmm. And it was more like in Rogue One, that like war film kind of feel with her. She was a soldier. She wasn't, you know, a Jedi or a rebel. I think there's a difference now with like the Disney version of Star Wars, a Star Wars rebel, and the soldiers that we see in like Rogue One or even like A New Hope. And she was one of the few characters in the Kenobi show for me that represented that soldier, that dark, gritty side of Star Wars, where we see her, you know, change sides because she's seen atrocities committed by the Empire, where we see her take a final stand and then kill herself because she knows she's not going to last in a few more seconds. She might as well take some imps out.
And she did. There was a nice, big explosion, and she was able to take some people out. Mm-hmm. So let's forward to the training. We get a flashback again now of the training. The training intensifies between Anakin and Obi-Wan is just sort of on the defensive side because Anakin is just going all offense, just trying to break the lightsaber, almost to the point where he wants to kill him. It got very aggressive.
It got aggressive. I think they're trying to show the dark side of Anakin.
Yeah, well, the kindling started to fire up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, you could see him just sort of trying to kill him, and then, you know, Obi teaches him a valuable lesson here about defense, right? Where even if you don't have the blade, you can still defend yourself. I thought that was very cool.
That was good. I liked how they show how Anakin was a great fighter with the lightsaber. He was considered one of the best and could even take on what in episode 3, Obi-Wan says that he could even rival Yoda or Mace Windu with his lightsaber skills.
Oh yeah, I think given the chance, if Anakin was with more training at a younger age, I think he would have been a cut above everybody else. I mean, he already is, in my opinion, challenging that number one spot. I have Luke as number one as all-time Jedi, but I think Anakin is right up there.
Well, Luke was number one until Disney got their hands on him in The Last Jedi.
I'm not. I don't even want to talk about.
That's not canon for you.
I'm not interested in that one at all.
Yeah, we won't go into that today. That would add too much time.
I don't want to get into that. Okay, so Vader actually arrives now on the planet.
Finally,
right? Yeah. He finally arrives on the planet, and again, we don't get that sound, the score.
Yeah.
You know, we don't get any of that, which is just terrible. It's just so stupid to not even put that song every time he walks in. Just do it, right?
It adds to that feeling of danger and like this is a powerful man. When you don't have that, it's just I don't know. It feels like something's missing.
That character is arguably the number one character in Star Wars. I think you could go around the world and ask people, name a character from Star Wars, and they'll say Vader. They'll say Vader.
Yeah.
He's iconic. He is Star Wars. And everything else flows from there because the whole story starts from him. Right?
Yeah.
This is this great kid or child that's going to change or restore balance. Right? It all starts from him, stems from him. The movies. I'm talking about specifically the movies.
Yeah.
Right? And we get nothing. We just get air, like you said, just breathing, which is cool. We like the breathing thing, but we need the score. So he goes, meets the Grand Inquisitor there, and then continues to do what? What does he do?
Well, I might be missing something here, but he walks through the hallways, and then he gets to the ship, and I loved this scene.
This is why I asked you, because
I absolutely love this scene. We've seen Vader before with his aggression. We've seen him snap necks and just toss bodies aside, which I like. I think it's great.
Well, we saw him in Rogue One.
That was the best portrayal of Vader ever, out of every movie, in my opinion. You see people's fear.
That's the Vader we want to see, though. That's the Vader we want.
And we didn't quite get that in this scene, but at least we saw the power of him.
Oh, he's just like, boom. I'm stopping the entire ship.
Yeah. The ship starts to fly away, and I thought, that's it. They're gone. Yeah. And did they shock you with that? Did they surprise you? Or did you think he's going to do something?
They surprised me with that too, especially when he brought it down.
Yeah,
in a thud noise. I'm like, oh, this ship is not going anywhere. It's broken down now, right?
Yeah.
And then he peels it like an orange.
I thought we were going to have.
That was the coolest part.
I thought we were going to have a scene of him like going through the hallways just killing people. No, he just rips it apart. That was so good.
Like I said, orange peel, man, just like boom, layers, get out of my way. I'm gonna find Obi, right? I thought what's gonna happen was Obi-Wan was gonna be finally found in one of the layers that he peels out, and kind of brings Obi-Wan to him, and says, "There you are, Obi," right? Like, that's how I thought it was gonna happen, and then Obi would probably use his Force to kind of bounce back.
Yeah, that would be cool, but
but I mean, they did a smart thing. They had a pod that they ejected out of there, which threw me off guard for sure.
Was it a pod or was it another ship behind it?
I think they said something like it's like emergency pod or something, or an emergency ship.
Double check that.
Well, while you're double checking there, I do want to mention to people who are listening, follow us on our social media platforms at ANR Universe. So at ANR Universe, we're on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok. We're all over the place. And if you're watching us for the very first time, be awesome and hit the subscribe button and let us know your thoughts on this episode or any other things that we talk about. We do reviews on all kinds of action figures as well. But yeah, we would love to grow the ANR family here.
So I just checked. It was another ship. There's another ship behind.
Okay. How did it attach? Was it attached to the other one? Because
no. So it was in kind of the background, so it looks kind of just like junk before. And then then the main one goes up, and you're not paying attention to the background. No one's looking back there. They don't have the engines on or anything, so it looks like it's empty. And then the main ship goes up, and Vader's controlling it, and so the audience is looking at that, what's occurring right in front of them. But as soon as he rips it open, he's looking through the window, and you can see the ship turn on the engines and then fly off really quickly.
How do they know? How do they know this?
I think this was Obi-Wan's plan. This is one reason why I like this episode a lot. Well, not a lot. I like this episode because we're finally getting to see Obi-Wan's thinking. He's being that intelligent Jedi.
Being the general. He's being the general.
He's being the General Kenobi. We get to see him.
That, don't you?
It's a lot of fun. But for years, one of the ways I'd knock on my friend's door, and as soon as he opened it, I'd say hello there. And the response whenever someone says that is either "Hello there" or "General Kenobi." But I loved seeing he thought this through. He knew that Darth Vader, that Anakin, would immediately he'd see the ship going off, full rage, anger there. He would not pay attention to anything else.
That is
and he took
brilliant.
advantage of that.
That's awesome. Yeah,
I like that. But obviously didn't work out for Vader. We got to see Obi-Wan fly away, and right behind him we see the Grand Inquisitor. Did you think that this was going to be the moment she's going to strike, or do you think that she's going to wait?
I knew right away here. I'm like, this is her spot right here. This is where she's going to make her stand.
Yeah. I don't know. I didn't think that was going to happen. I know they're kind of setting us up, but I thought, no, they're not going to tell us about this in the episode that she's going to betray him and immediately betray him in the same episode. I thought they're going to wait to the finale.
That was quick.
Yeah, it was a very quick turnaround.
I mean, all this time she's built up to become a Grand Inquisitor, and then she wants to throw it all away in the same day.
Same day.
It felt rushed. You know, it didn't feel organically that this is a plan that she wants. Because, like I said, she was a youngling, so she's been in this system and doesn't want to be part of the system, but she's playing along because, one, she needs to survive, and two, she needs to make her way up the ranks because she have a chance like this, right? What do you think of the fight scene between the two of them?
So,
honest opinion,
before the lightsaber battle, when it was just her using the lightsaber and Vader using the Force, I liked how Vader was using the Force. Or I liked the fact that he did use the Force, but I thought some of the movements were a little weird. Like it was just Vader going,
Mr. Roboto.
Yeah, it looked. I get he is technically robotic,
Yeah.
but it looked a little weird. But I still liked it. I thought it was a good way. We've just seen Vader being super powerful. If he didn't demonstrate how powerful he was immediately after that, it would be like you've just neutered Vader at this moment. So that way
they've already neutered Vader in this show. They've gone past neuter. He's recovering from neuter.
But I thought it was okay.
I thought it was weak a little bit.
Really? What part? Or just the whole thing? Or
we just got a scene where he ripped a ship apart like orange peels.
Yeah.
You can't do that with a human being?
Okay, first that would be awesome. That would be great.
I would have liked to see him toy with her.
I think he was toying with her. He's like, I don't even need my lightsaber.
I like how you broke the lightsaber and tossed it to her.
Yeah, I thought that was toying with her.
There you go. You get a piece. But I would have liked to see that up afterwards. Like, here's a piece of sword. Go ahead. I'll give it back to you. Do what you will. But every time she strikes, she can't even get near him.
I wish he taunted her a little bit, not just like with what he's doing, but like verbally, because Vader does say, he does talk a bit, and he makes some
I would have liked to see him trash talking, like, oh, you think because you're a Grand Inquisitor, all of a sudden you have the ability to beat me? I am Lord Vader. Like, I want to see these video game type of, trash talking, right?
Yeah,
and I would throw her around, push her against the wall, let her know, let the audience know. Especially for new viewers. I mean, there's kids who have never seen Vader, right?
Yeah.
Let them know who this Vader guy is that your dad or your mom or your aunt or uncle were talking about for the last 30 years.
And do you know what's sad as well during the fight scene? Do you remember the score? Any music from the fight scene? I don't remember.
It might have been Beethoven for all I know.
Yeah. I can't remember it. I don't even know if they had any. It might have been a fight without music. It was forgettable.
Because he went from picking her up with the little snap of his fingers and catapulting her in the air where she's about to die to a point where she could have laid a strike on him. Like he allowed her to get so close that she could have laid a strike on him. I don't want to see that with Vader. I want Vader to be way, way, way better than that, because I have him in high regards as the ultimate bad guy in Star Wars.
Yeah. Oh, he is.
So I don't want to see a random Inquisitor get close enough that he or she could possibly beat him. It should be a no contest. It should be an absolute embarrassment of a fight. Like, this is what you think you are gonna do. You're gonna try to kill me. Look what I just did to you in 2 seconds. I threw you around like a rag doll. I broke your blade and gave it back to you. Then I did it all over again. Right? That's what I wanted to see.
Do you know that's true? But in fairness to Disney, I think that would make for it would be exciting for a moment, but we wouldn't have, I don't know, a big impression of the fight afterwards. Although I don't know if you got a big impression for the fight, anyways.
So what happens after this fight is all ends? He takes the blade and goes right down the.
Yeah. Well, before he even does that, we see the Grand Inquisitor, the real Grand Inquisitor, is actually alive.
Well, she got stabbed and then he came. She was on the floor.
Oh, was she?
Yeah. She was on the floor.
Oh. I knew she was on the floor. I didn't realize she got stabbed and she went on the floor. I thought she got stabbed up. Oh, never mind. I'm just misremembering stuff.
Well, regardless, we get to see the Grand Inquisitor, the real one,
yes,
or the original one, come down and start talking to her. And I'm just like, I mean, we knew that there's a very, very good chance he's going to come back.
We knew he's alive because in Star Wars Rebels, he's still alive.
I just didn't think it's going to be that easy. I was like, nobody dies? Nobody dies.
No one dies in Star Wars. You could get stabbed in the gut. You can get shot in the gut.
Okay, given the fact that he got stabbed in the gut and survived, don't you think that he would have said to Vader, we need to chop her head off? Now, I don't mean like say that, but don't you think they should have like, hey, we need to end her here. Make sure she actually dies.
I've survived this injury before. She has the exact same injury.
Yeah, exactly. Like I just came back, from the stabbing of the chest, and we just stabbed her in the chest. Maybe we should make sure she dies before we leave.
You're thinking too logically.
Yeah, I know, right? I'm just thinking the Yoda way. and I was like, I'm wondering how he came back too. Like they don't even explain.
Yeah, it's like Palpatine. He's just back.
Gosh, I don't know.
Maybe in the final episode.
No, maybe they have a genetic clone of him. That would have been sufficient. I would have taken that at this point.
Oh my gosh.
Like, we just cloned him, like we did in the Star Wars with the, with the whole bunch of Sith.
I didn't even realize we have another Palpatine moment where he just returns with no explanation. It could still be redeemed by next episode where they explain that he was.
This is episode 6. They're gonna have a big duel between the two of them, right? That's still to come. So they're gonna have big fight.
Yeah,
and that'll be it. That's it right there. Obi-Wan will win the fight.
Well, he has to.
And then the canon will set up for him to lose the next time they meet again. Right?
Yeah, and so we see the Grand Inquisitor kind of taunt her a little bit and say, like, we knew your plan from early on. We knew you were going to betray. But what's interesting, as soon as they leave, we get to see the holo recording. Just
before we go to that part,
oh yeah,
I like the part. You mentioned like he says to her, you're in the gutters and you're gonna be. We found you in the gutters and you're gonna be back. You're back in the gutters, something like that. What was the point then of bringing her along if they knew that she's gonna betray them?
Yeah, that's true. Like she must.
Why even go through all this?
Yeah. The only way I can justify that is if she was very effective at hunting Jedi, but if she actively hunted Jedi, that would kind of break the canon a bit.
What I'm saying is, why even write that line in there?
Oh, yeah.
If you remove that line out of there, it doesn't look as bad. But when you say that line that we knew that you would betray us, or something like that, what did they say?
I can't remember word for word either, but it was something along the lines of like, I knew you're going to like do this, or I think Vader said it. I knew you're gonna like strike at me or something like that.
Why go through this ordeal? What was the point?
Yeah,
like it's because they thought she's the only one that can hunt down Obi-Wan. And the other thing I want to talk about, which I talked to my friend about, is this makes Vader look stupid because he's the one that brings them in.
Yeah,
like that, Vader just made himself look dumb. He spent all this time with the resources getting these assassins in order because that's what they are. They're assassins.
Oh yeah.
Right. They're sent out by him to go do his bidding, to cleanse the universe or the galaxy of Jedis. Right. So why are you spending time and resource training someone that you knew that's going to betray you? or eventually betray you, right? And he just looks at her and realizes then that she's one of the younglings. What, he didn't remember her the first time? Where did you get her from? Did she just walk up one day to the tower and say, "Hi, I'd like to, apply for a job as an inquisitor"? Like,
Oh,
I
they
don't
knew.
know. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
obviously they got her from somewhere, maybe a gutter, but where does she come from? Where the gutter? Like, none of this makes sense. Like, did she walk out of that hallway of dead bodies into a gutter and they found her afterwards and said, "Hey, she looks tough. Let's bring her in for training"?
She's
Right?
force sensitive.
Because the Grand Inquisitor was a former Jedi that he wanted.
Well,
right?
I'm sure you've heard. I can't remember if it was her or just talk at Disney of her getting a spin-off show. Which is funny
I was
because
the one mentioning it to you.
Because it's funny because isn't this a spin-off show? Isn't this kind of her spin-off show? It's her.
No,
it's
what's going to happen is they're going to
Obi-Wan.
give you the prequel version of it.
Yeah.
They're going to show her leaving the area of Order 66, and they're going to show her how she became part of the Inquisitors. That's what they're going to show us.
Yeah.
I have zero interest in that.
Oh, I don't want to see it either. I'm not interested in
in
her. I'm sure they will not get very many
because
people
there
to
are
watch
plenty
that
more
show.
characters that still haven't got their day in the sun.
Yeah. Oh yeah. By the way, you it reminded me of. I don't know if people could see it this fall, but
I can't really see it. Want to tell us what it is?
I want
my own spin-off. Your own spin-off. Riva, the entire show is your own spin-off. Yes. Exactly. I've seen more of her than I have seen Obi-Wan. You gotta fix your camera. It's a little buzzy.
Oh, whoops.
You know how it is.
Yeah, I gotta like back up my hands slowly.
Slowly. Back away real slowly. There you go.
Awesome.
But so she finds that a holocron and
or the holo recording.
Holocron,
not a holocron, sorry. Holocron or
else. So finds a recording of Organa.
Yep.
And what happens next?
She watches it. She sees that Organa mentions that there's the Owen family, the boy, and Tatooine. That if something happens to Obi-Wan, he'll go there to protect him. And while I thought this was really like lazy of Obi-Wan to just like leave this behind, like not make sure, because if this is lost anywhere, that information, then that's like the whole point of him trying to.
The minute it fell out of that pot, I knew right away because the camera pans in there, right? I'm like, yeah, this is going to be used later on.
Yeah,
it's foreshadowing something.
On the bright side, I am happy to know that next episode we'll be back on Tatooine with Luke, because I think a lot of people started watching the show because we wanted to see what's the behind the stuff's not behind the scenes, but what's behind the main plot that we see in A New Hope of all the things that Obi-Wan's doing to protect Luke, and we're going to kind of see that now. I hope. Have
you watched John Wick?
I haven't, but I know of John. I've seen.
Hold on a second here. Hold on. Time out. You have not seen any of the John Wick movies?
No, I've seen
Nathan?
Treadstone.
The next time I talk to you, you have better seen one of them. I would start with number 1. It is arguably one of the greatest action movies in the last 20 years. Keanu Reeves absolutely kills it. Where I was going with this was, I wanted to see a Keanu Reeves version. I mean, obviously now you don't know what I'm talking about because you haven't watched the movie, but when you do, you're going to realize what I'm saying here. I thought this show was going to be about Obi-Wan being like John Wick and dealing with a whole bunch of, bounty hunters trying to go after Luke and kill not only Luke, but his family and a whole bunch of dirty underworld, scum that is in Tatooine.
I saw that
That's
too.
what I wanted to see.
Yep.
Right? And then you can sprinkle in Vader. You can sprinkle in the Empire on that stuff. You can do all that too. Just raise the stakes up every episode. Right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's what I wanted to see.
Yeah, right? I wanted to see that too. I was looking forward to that because I like the nitty-gritty part of Star Wars.
I have people come to me, well, hey, Luke always got most of the screen time. It's nice to see Leia get the screen time. That's the Leia you want to see get screen time? You want to see an 8-year-old kid whining, yelling, screaming?
And they also set it up so we thought that we were going to see Luke, and I was excited for that.
Yeah, it's called bait and switch.
Yeah.
That's what it's called. They purposely took her out of any of the trailers, purposely made sure to keep it hush-hush, because they knew that if they showed her, people are going to be up in arms and say, what the heck? Why are you showing her when we're here to watch Luke and Obi-Wan? That's the story that you told us for the trailers. So it's a bait and switch. Disney does this all the time. They're going to continue to do this because they don't have confidence in themselves that people are going to like what they pull out, because they have writers that don't even know the lore, which I think is the stupidest thing in the world.
Well, hey, like, Kathleen Kennedy's hiring people that have never seen Star Wars to
That's what I'm saying. Like, it is the dumbest decision ever to bring people in who have no idea what the lore is about. It's insane. It's the only industry I know that you could do that. Can you imagine bringing in somebody into the hospital that has no PhD or a doctorate, but they're really open-minded people, so we're gonna try new things?
I know.
You can't do this anywhere else in any other industry. Everywhere else, you're required to have some sort of training, or they give you training on the spot so that you know what you're getting yourself into. But here, hey, no training needed. Star Wars, you don't even need to know about anything. Just come on in. It'll write itself. It's crazy, man. Just think about that.
Yeah, yeah, you're right.
What other job out there that does not require you to learn something about the actual job before you actually begin?
But Disney can just throw money at it, so that way they get the views to justify and to continue making these decisions.
I just find it comical that a lot of people just like, it's all right. It's a show. It's entertaining. I find it fun. Those are the lines I hear from people. They don't really sound resoundingly exciting when they hear.
Are they Star Wars fans though?
They're Star Wars fans. They're like, oh, it's fun. It's interesting. I like this. And they're like one or two words. That's it. And they don't even go into detail afterwards as to why they like it, right?
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people have just given up and said, yeah, whatever. I'll just take what they give me, because
I think, yeah.
And then
you and I, we want to enjoy it, right? But I think a lot of people want to enjoy it, but it's hard to.
One of the things I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be delving into the whys a little bit more with longer separate videos, specifically outlining why people care so much. There's a lot of people and I was talking to my friends saying that Star Wars has changed their lives for the better. There's a lot of people that have said that Star Wars saved their lives. So I can't stand it when people say it's just a sci-fi show, guys. It's just Star Wars. To you, it's just Star Wars, but for a lot of people, it's a big deal, right?
Yes.
Respect everybody's, belief in Star Wars, whether it be small or big. So you can't just say it's Star Wars. No, don't take yourselves too seriously about it. No. We're not seriously, in a point where we're gonna go and burn, Disney's mountain down or anything like that. We're not rallying for a march here or anything, but we want to take it seriously because it's a slippery slope. Once you allow this slope, to slip, there's no end. It's just going to deteriorate, and it already has. But yeah, it's just we need to speak up and say, hey, enough. Like, we need better writing. We need you get to care. Please bring people in that love the lore. Is that too much to ask?
Yeah, well, apparently it is for Disney.
Anyway, so back to this. So
yeah,
she can barely crawl. Is she gonna get her way out of there and back to Tatooine?
Of course she will.
What is going on here?
Just because she's got plot armor.
Oh man, it's gonna be. And what is she? Here's what's gonna happen. They're gonna get to Tatooine. Everybody's gonna be there. The whole gang. Vader's gonna be fighting. Wait, is Vader gonna be fighting?
He can't fight. I don't think they'll fight on Tatooine because Vader. I don't think Vader will know about it, because if he does, then Luke will have been in great danger throughout most of his life.
I better not see Vader fighting Tatooine.
Yeah, Vader can't know about it. if he does, that will break canon a bit because he has no idea that he has a son. He has no idea that his son's alive. He has no idea the importance of him.
Riva better not go to Luke and give him inspirational talk.
Oh my god, that would be so bad.
I just have this weird feeling that she's gonna go to Tatooine and somehow warn them of the danger or protect them or somehow do some heroic act.
Yeah.
I just have this weird feeling something's gonna happen.
I wasn't thinking that before. Now I am. You've just put that in my mind.
Yeah, I just have this weird feeling that she's gonna go out as a hero because that's what the writers want. They want to put her up on people's shoulders and parade her around. Oh my god.
She killed children and other Jedis. She's still a villain in my eyes, and not a good one. Kind of boring.
It's the ultimate redemption. That's what they want. They love it.
Defends. How many Jedi did you kill? 15.
It doesn't matter. She's Riva, and we need her to be the next big thing.
I know you're right, but I don't want it to be right.
We want people to revere her and hold her in the same level as Vader, as Luke, as Yoda, that she was an instrumental piece in the grand scheme of things. That is what they're going to do. Oh, man. Yeah. I just hated myself for thinking of that right now. That's going to be... I hope it's not true. Please, please, please. But yeah, episode 6, one more in the book. It's very short. That's what Disney does. I don't know who thought of 6 episodes as a great way to do TV shows. It's absolutely ridiculous. Mm-hmm. I've seen some short series and nobody's done 6. I've seen 8. I've seen 9. I just find 6 is way too short.
If they did them at least like an hour or an hour 15 and 6 episodes, I'd be a little bit more comfortable with that. But we've had
the last episode was 30 minutes.
Yeah, I know. It's short. It's very
short. It's a joke.
Yeah. And Disney knew that this was going to be a huge hit, yet they don't put in that extra budget to...
No.
Sorry, that's one more thing I forgot to touch upon. I hate how many humans there are. Star Wars is all about... There's so many planets. There's so many different alien species.
Because that costs money, Nathan.
Yeah, I know, but it's Disney. And this is their... the show has gotten more viewers than... For the premiere episode, it's got more viewers than any other Disney show.
Disney right now is trending. The stock market is down overall, but Disney got hit. They're under $1 or $100, something like that. They got hit hard. They've lost a lot of money in the stock market. The value of the company has gone down, and maybe this is one of the reasons.
Gosh, I kind of hope so, because if it was, then it would tell them to step up their game.
How cool would it be if Disney was smart and said, let's do a Qui-Gon story?
That'd be nice, getting to see kind of the Republic before it fell, Qui-Gon, and I think everyone would love to see Liam Neeson.
And then the end, you just see a young Obi-Wan come up to him.
Yeah, that would be good.
Wow. That is a show worth watching. That would be amazing.
That would be very good. I'd watch that.
If Joe Schmo like me can think of something like that, man, how many brilliant writers are out there waiting to work for Disney? How many brilliant Star Wars writers are out there going, give me a chance. I can really write you guys a compelling story that people will love. And Kathleen Kennedy's like, nope. Sorry, you're a Star Wars fan. We need other people to come here and show us.
All she needs to do to get a hit show is to go on Reddit, Star Wars Reddit subreddit, and find some stories.
There are so many talented Star Wars fans. Like I said, I don't know anything about, not everything about Star Wars. I'm still in the learning phase, but there are people out there that can speak Star Wars language, can talk about specific Jedi training. They're so in depth into the Star Wars lore. There's so many people out there.
Yeah.
You can't get one to write you a story.
But not just that. Not just you can't get one. You forbid it.
Oh, sorry, yeah. It's like the X-Men 1 and 2 movies. I believe Bryan Singer was the director. He forbid any actor from having comic books in the trailers. He banned all comic books from the set. Kevin Feige at the time, who's now head of Marvel, was their coffee boy, the errand boy. He would smuggle Wolverine comics to Hugh Jackman so he can have an idea who Wolverine is. Because
Well, that's good.
yeah, and guess
We need
what?
that.
Guess what? That was one of the characters that people absolutely loved from that shitty movies.
Oh yeah, yeah.
He stood out, right? And that's because probably of Kevin Feige teaching him and showing him who Wolverine really is. Because aside from the comic books, there's no other way to know what this character entails.
Yep.
Right? What's the character's attitude and everything. So yeah, I don't know. I hope one day she either gets fired or she comes to her senses and says, "Yeah, maybe we should just kind of bring these people in who are diehard fans and talented. That might help us."
Do you know what? I don't know. I don't think it'll be her. I think in 3 years, when it's time for them to
Can you
renew the
believe that?
contract,
3
they
more
might fire
years.
her.
We gotta go deal with her for 3 more years.
I don't know. I'm just looking forward to the day that they decide. Do you know what? Let's not renew it. Let's take a different direction.
What compelled them to think that her leadership was worth renewing for another 3 years? She did a trilogy that arguably was garbage
Yeah, people
across
hated
the
it.
board. But it made her money because they opened up in China.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Anyways, what are we giving this a score out of 10?
for me, I think I can actually justify giving this an 8 out of 10. Now I know that's quite high, especially for the Obi-Wan series.
Hey,
but
it's your numbers.
I think that it is the best episode so far out of the series. I think there are problems with the episode. There are many problems, but I found more reasons to enjoy this episode than I have with previous episodes. And for that reason, I'm giving it an 8 out of 10. Plus, sorry, I love how Vader, we get to see his power. And I love how Obi-Wan now is turning a bit more into his old self. He's intelligent. He's thinking things through. And, at the last minute, you get to see his plan revealed.
Okay, fair enough. I'm going to give it a 7.5.
Okay, so it's higher for you, right? What was yours last week?
6.5.
Okay.
Last week was my lowest. Last week it was your highest up until today. You were consistently at 6.5 until last week you went to 7, and today you went to 8. I was 7 across until last week I went to 6.5, and then today I'm at 7.5. The female actor that sacrificed herself, that was great. I really love that. It was a very heartwarming moment. Vader scene obviously killed it. It was such a good scene when he's ripping apart the ship, like I said, like up in an orange peel. The things that brought me down was Riva not being executed and just left there, and now she's still alive. And then, speaking of still alive, the original Grand Inquisitor just, "Hi, how's it going? I'm back, guys," with no explanation, nothing, no scars, no damage, nothing, as if he was squeaky clean. Nothing ever happened to him. Found that ridiculous. The fight scene with Vader and Inquisitor, it was all right. I would have loved to see him be more lethal because that's who he is. He's unforgiving and very, he's relentless. He's just aggressive all the way, and we didn't get to see too much of that. The flashback scene, it was nice to see that, but Disney, man, you guys need to work on your de-aging. Come on.
Yeah.
But yeah, 7.5 is the highest score I've given it. Next week is our finale, and I have a feeling it's going to be 7.5 or less for me again. I have very little hope that next week's episode is going to be great.
Gosh,
I have very little hope.
It's Star Wars. You always have to have hope.
Hey, I like that. All right. So next week we will try to. I know we've been a couple of days late sometimes on some of our releases, but we all have work, and sometimes it kind of gets in the way of things. But we try our best to get the episode out as soon as possible. Next week we're going to try to do a live, if we can, on a Wednesday. But regardless, we're going to have a video, whether live or pre-recorded, drop no matter what, sometime next week for the finale, and get our take on it. And then we'll do a little wrap-up of the entire series. And will there be a part 2 or not? Because they haven't said anything about a part 2. But next week we're going to give our full take on it. We appreciate everybody that listens and watches us. Thank you so much. If you're new here, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. It will mean a lot to us. And go check out our A&R Monday nights, 8:30 Pacific. We're on this channel. We talk about all cool things. But yeah, anyways, thanks everybody for tuning in, and have a good day. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That's what he meant.
So
All right.
that's
Goodbye, everybody.
some alien language. Have a good one.